Oh God. If you don't sleep right now, you're gonna pass out, dude. You're doing too much work. You gotta give yourself a break sometimes.
I balance my personal life and work probably the same way others balance their personal life and professional life. So as much as possible, I try to allocate a time and during my day to do all my work stuff. And during those hours, I try not to do any personal stuff like, catching up with friends or helping out with chores. If this is the time for work, then I'm going to focus on time. But when my work time is done, then that's the only time I can spend it on personal matters. And during that time, I try not to do work stuff and just focus on, catching up with my family, friends, and doing chores, anything that I want to do in my personal life.
It was a bit hard and challenging at first, but then I just put my mindset into it, just think that it's all part of what I want. It's all part of the job that I applied to. So basically, over time, I got used to it. I work at 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. So basically, I make sure that after I work, I have enough sleep and that I wake up at around 12 noon or around 3 p.m. So basically, I still have time to go out, socialize, do the things I want. Basically, just balancing your time or like prioritizing which things you want to do first or which things comes second or third.
For morning and afternoon, it's a VA work. And on the evening, I play online games, mobile games. And at weekends, I go to mall and shop. And that's how I balance my personal and working life.
I actually have a hard time doing that before since it really affects you if you're not okay inside your house. Like, for example, you're dealing with a bad day and then you need to work. Sometimes you really produce awful works, right? But as time goes by, I usually do meditation before I work. So I reflect on things and make my mind clear because I need to segregate my issues or conflicts on my personal side so that I will still produce substantial works that is compensating the payment that I receive from my clients.
It was tough at first, especially when I was starting out, especially when I just graduated and I tried finding like freelance jobs. And I think I try to separate it somewhat just by working on set hours and trying to plan my day as clearly as possible because I am a huge planner. I am an INTJT, so it's very much important for me to plan everything by the hour. And after that, I try to not work after like 5 p.m. That is like my set time. I don't work after 5 p.m. and I keep my weekends free because that is just the time for myself and do the things that I enjoy, spend time with my family and just maybe watch Netflix all day, whatever I want. So that's all free. And I know that just the discipline to work at set times is already a challenge, but when you think of the work that you do and when you think that you are helping the clients through doing this, that's honestly the best feeling ever.
It's a matter of prioritizing. So you would have to work around the schedule that would fit both of your priorities. For me, personal life means family. So that would mean that it would work well with my family and also with my career. So what I do is that, let's say for example, on the 8 hours that I am working, I would make sure that I use the time wisely to get everything that I need or to work on everything that I need, just so there's no need for me to work outside of that time. Once that I clocked out, I make sure that my focus would be on my personal life. So I don't mix personal life and work. So that's how I balance it. I never had the taste of working on a normal hours since all of the clients, even in the customer service and when I was still on the customer service industry, I was serving American clients. There was just one Australian client. However, you can still feel the time difference. So my day would actually starts in the nighttime. It's actually a reverse thing. I'm like an owl. When they were still younger, like they were only 2 or 3 years old, it was really challenging. You would have to sacrifice both the sleep because you would have to be hands on with them. Those were the times that you cannot trust them to be on their own. So, what I do is that I put them to bed with me as well. So, they would have to take their afternoon nap. So, I'm really blessed if that's gonna last for 4 hours. However, for at least 2 years, I was sleep deprived at that time. I would just have to join them on their afternoon nap.
You have to have this in your mind that work is work and personal is something that you don't have to bring into work. Because once you do that, there are a lot of complications that might happen if you don't know how to separate personal into work. So how do I separate myself? As what I've said, I just focus if it's work. I believe it's more of how you carry yourself during the job. But there are times that if it's really personal, you might bring it. But for me, it's just how you take it. You just have to separate yourself with your personal problem when you are working. And if it's your day off or rest day, make sure that you rest your mind from work and just focus on the things that you have to work on.
You can actually bring your job anywhere you want. If the place has internet connectivity, there's no problem with it. You can actually bring your job with you even if you travel. So it would be okay. I work in my bedroom and my kids are actually very supportive to me too. So when I have work to do, they just stay in the bedroom sometimes and then they just stay quiet. And that's actually our bonding. Like even if I'm doing something, I try to touch them, I try to talk to them even if I'm working something, so that the communication is still there even if I am busy with my work. I don't want to be a absent parent even if I'm here.
I would say that working in the house, I had like experienced the cabin fever, as what they have said. So what I do, I would do physical activities. I would go outside, run, jog, do gardening. And sometimes when you do the grocery, that's for me is a precious thing because there's an opportunity to go outside, see people. Sometimes I would, on rare occasion, I would see my friends also doing groceries. So that's for me is precious.
Actually, it's not really hard for me to balance those things because I don't let myself to be focused on not really important, so that it's not really hard for me to balance my work as a teacher and balance my work as a virtual assistant. I use a timetable. I have here a calendar plan wherein every weekends I need to do these things, or I have the chance to go outside, to go with my friends. And every weekdays, this is only for teacher job. This is only for virtual assistant job. So I think it's a great impact and great help if you have a timetable and a calendar plan.
Every weekend or every rest day, I make it a point to do what I love to do. So I am into designing. I have an online store for print on demand shirts or garments and other stuff. So I do that because that way I get to forget other office matters. I am able to show off or express myself through my creation on the designs that I'm doing for my online store. Also, I love hiking. I love swimming. I love going to the beach. And when the opportunity allows me, I do just that. I also spend time with my family during weekends because, One of the disadvantages of a VA, especially if my client, if one's VA's client is on a different time zone, we VAs have different holidays or different free time or rest days with the family. So, as much as possible, when a time allows or time would permit, uh, I would take advantage of that free time or rest day. Either I go to my family and join them for whatever activity or invite them for whatever activity that would be fun to do. I also, it's very important to me. I'm sure to a lot of VAs as well, and not just VAs, to a lot of persons or working people as well. I also do meditate. I'm part of a group which is a meditation group every Saturday and Sunday. So we do group meditation, and I'm sure you've heard a lot of advantages of meditation. It just relaxes and calms your mind, and it improves your disposition in whatever situation you're in, especially those challenging situations.
I mean, with lots of caffeine and lots of caffeine, honestly, because like again, I work on the go. So my working hours are pretty much very flexible, but so is everything else. Like I can watch my anime, I can watch my movies whenever I want to. I play my games whenever I want to, and I can work whenever I have to. And sometimes, I mean, sometimes doing all three affects my sleeping hours, but I've kind of learned to adapt to it where I can just sleep maybe 6 hours a day. That'll actually do for maybe 2 days. Like I can go 2 days with just 6 hours of sleep, but it takes a lot of caffeine for me to do so. But again, living alone has its perks. For one, I'm not really exhausted with chores, I'm not really exhausted with household work. And I think that really helps me perform or helps me do whatever it is that I want to do. Because compared to when you're living with a family, compared to when you have kids, you have to spend some time with the kids. You have to spend some time with your partner, and that takes away your personal time. That takes away your energy. But that doesn't apply to me, and I'm very lucky. So that's pretty much how I balance everything. And also, I feel like if I don't do the stuff that makes me happy or stuff that I think is fun, it's going to affect my work, whether I like it or not. Because for me, playing games and watching the stuff that I like is sort of my mental health recharge. It keeps me happy, it keeps me lighthearted, and it keeps me willing to do my work because whenever I am able to do those things, it means that I have the financial ability to keep on doing those things because I have a stable job.
Very difficult at the beginning. And now it's still rough, I would say, around the edges, but it's getting better. At the beginning, I was taking care of a toddler while I was pregnant, while I was working. So it was really difficult because my toddler was at the very clingy phase. So sometimes he would wake up in the middle of the night while I was working, and I would have to put him back to sleep. And when I gave birth, the first few months, I was still trying to juggle breastfeeding and sometimes having to pump in between work. But now I've got people to support me. I've got family relatives that help out with my children. So I'm very lucky. And also my boss is really understanding of our situation. And she reminds us all the time that we have to put our family first. So, those few minutes that I need to go back to my kid to calm them down or put them to sleep or give them a bottle, my clients are okay with it.
From the day of my shift, for example, my shift is in the morning, so I make sure that I have already managed the sleeping pattern of my kid so that I could avoid the distraction, I could avoid the defocus. What I do is I manage his sleeping pattern so that every time I'm working, I make sure he's asleep so that I could focus. And of course, with some emergency cases, I make sure I could talk with our manager or coordinator so that I could inform earlier if ever there's a need or if there's an emergency cases. And of course, for the family, I make sure I could provide the other needs that they need. Of course, for example, the preparation for the meals at home, I make sure I have already managed it during my break time. I make sure I use my break time productively. It's also the time that I could do a little house chores during my 1 hour break. So I use it efficiently at home. So I don't use it as a break for myself because after my shift, that's the time I could really rest. So I make sure that I could have enough rest, of course, for my body because we all need physical rest, mostly nowadays. So I make sure also I have enough sleep and I have enough, the healthy living, of course, the vitamins and the proper eating. So I manage them well. And with work, of course, 8 hour shift is, of course, it's focused on the client, it's focused on work. And after that is all for the family.
I think working remotely now is a big blessing, especially that I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be having a baby. For sure, it's gonna be more convenient for me just to manage my time, taking care of the baby, the family, and the work. Especially that I mentioned that I really don't have like a fixed working hours with the company. Sometimes I stay most of the day without doing any tasks. Sometimes I'm just on call. They just ask me to do tasks one at a time. But there are times also that's kind of busy, but I'm sure that I'll be able to cope up and manage it wisely.
Every weekend, every after work, I play, I coach the team that I'm coaching, the pro team that I'm coaching. I produce music. Sometimes I just, sleep in. Sometimes when I'm a little too tired, I just sleep in and just tell myself that, oh God, if you don't sleep right now, you're gonna pass out, dude. You're doing too much work. You gotta give yourself a break sometimes. Just chill. So yeah, I just sometimes I sleep in bed. Sometimes I mingle with people, go out with people, produce music, coach and play. But you just really have to understand and have actually. I think it's best for like the future VAs to really have your everyday life scheduled. That's the best way to approach it. Like have like a diary or something, or like a calendar, and just put some stuff there. Like you're gonna go do this at this day, gonna go do that at that day. So your life's gonna be more systematic, and you don't have to be pressured a lot. That actually also brings pressure as well.
Since my client gave me a flexible time, so I am very organized in my time management. So I have days for my work, specifically hours. And of course, I have time for my son and for my family also. It taught me how to organize and how to manage my time well.
Right now, what I usually do is I listen to music and I really learn yoga. Whenever I don't feel well, whenever I don't feel good, I always listen to relaxing music, especially in 432 frequency. While I'm listening to that soothing music, I meditate. I do journal when I don't feel good. I just write my thoughts and I ask myself, is this true? Is this going to help you? Because I really believe with those activities. I believe in with law of attraction. I believe with how you think you will create, and if you're going to attract negativity, or if you're concentrating on bad things that will happen, then bad thing will happen. So right now, I just think of good thoughts. I know it's really hard, but it's really effective to me right now. And I'm starting to exercise because I really gained weight. And I can assure everyone, especially working from home, just sitting 10 hours a day, exercise will really help. It will give you good mood. It will enhance creativity, especially being a PA is really hard. For 32 frequency, that frequency really helps people to relax. I hope that people will start using that, because frequency really affects everybody. Right now, when I listen to music, I don't listen to music when it's not in 432 frequency. I edit the song and I put it in 432 frequency.
After my shift, I just make sure that I can have good sleep for like 5 hours or 6 hours so that I do have some energy when I have my shift in the night. So I also drinking like vitamins. You need to take vitamins as well as a VA because health is very important. It's your capital. So yeah, I'm getting used to it right now, and all you need to do is just to have a good sleep the morning after your shift or in the afternoon so that you will have that energy when you do the task in the night. So that's the only thing that I did.
I currently have a laptop plus a phone. So when I close my laptop off, I don't have my work emails on my phone unless it's a very important application that I need to download on my phone, and it can't be downloaded on my laptop. I don't also have ringtones that are the same. So ringtones that are for emails that are from one client is different. For another client, different. For my personal contacts, it's different. So that I know when my phone's ringing a certain ringtone, okay, this is personal. I can either answer this or not. Okay, this is from this boss, but it's not my work hour yet. Why is he or she calling me at this hour? It's probably not important. I cannot answer it. Stuff like that. I also have boundaries in my Google accounts. So I have profiles for each client. And so if this is for work, I'll have a separate Google account. If this is for my personal, this is my personal Google account. Just so that I don't get work emails in an email that, like right after Facebook, I then get to see an email that's like, hey, Monagin, I need you to take care of this. I don't think I'd be able to handle work like that.
Well, since I handle my time being a VA, I usually work once my toddler is already asleep. So it's not that easy since I manage the household and I have a toddler with me. What I can suggest is you really have to check and make sure that you manage your time well. You have to plan your day as well. If you got a client who's not willing to give you flexible hours, all you have to do is adjust. Adjust your morning routine to afternoon if the client wants to do the job in the morning. And if you have kids like me, as for me, I have a son, I try to make him sleep earlier. So once he falls asleep, I can start working for my client. And also, my husband and I have different schedules. My husband is asleep during the day and I'm awake during the day. So what worked for us was we meet during lunch and then he sleeps after lunch. So we both get to play with our toddler. Before he sleeps, he makes sure that he was able to do his responsibilities at home after his work. And then when he's awake at night, that's the time that my toddler will fall asleep. So also that's the time for me to work. So you really have to check the schedule of everything. Your working hours, your family time. You basically have to balance everything.